In this next section, we're going to explore some of the ideas that we've learned in the previous two sections and put them together in a rhythm context. Don Richard will usually play a lot of the same ideas he plays in his lead playing underneath singers when he was accompanying them. This is how this will sound. This is just over a classic kind of Buck Owens styled shuffle in the key of A. 1, a 2, a 1. Alright, what you just heard was some of these ideas that we've been working up in a rhythm context. This is something that you could hear Don Rich use throughout all of the Buckaroos and Buck Owens recorded studio work, as well as live on those Buck Owens TV shows. A lot of this stuff is completely recycled and used within his lead playing and vice versa. There are a few things as we go through here that I'll point out that I think he plays more often and things that he avoids. So let's break this down here. We're first walking up. We're just like imagining there's an E chord and we're playing, and then we're in A. So what we have is just, and then we're working out of our A open cowboy chord. Just that kind of stock rhythm that we work on. So open, 2nd fret on your 3rd string, 2nd fret 4th string, then bounce off on the 3rd string. So we have. So just playing around with those ideas of bum ba ka ba ka ba ka ba ba ka ba ka ba. Usually a quarter note followed by 8th notes, or a quarter note, 8th notes, quarter note. That's a really common kind of rhythmic phrase you see him play. So. And then we're moving on to our E, and we're just shifting down to this open E chord, and we've got. I'm just playing off of the E and then the flat 7, which is D. So just 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And we're just taking that little and just bending up just a little bit, that G up to almost a G sharp. So with those two back to back, you get. And you can see how, again, same rhythms mainly, but they work really well, especially if you're doing this as in a rhythm context under the singer. You're not distracting too much because you're playing a lot of the same ideas. So that first line, we've got. Now on the second line, we're going to finish off our E statement, and we've got. So your first bar in 5 is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and so open, 2, 2, open, and bounce off, and coming back to the B, the 5th of E. And then in this next bar, we're transitioning back to the A. Right, we've got one more bar before the A, and what you can hear him do a lot in his rhythm and lead contexts is kind of get there a little earlier, push us there a little early. So what he's doing is, right, we're playing still the E, and then we're bending that 3 up just a little bit to release then to the A, an 8th note early to the chord change. And that's something that's fine. It just carries us right into it, and it's part of his phrasing. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and it's hard to say and talk. right, so that's kind of the ending of those low ideas. And then in this next two bars of just A to get us into the next part of the form, he plays, we've got the carryover A, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So what you have there is just playing out of that A chord, just over the A and the G, the flat 7, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then you have a nice, signature lick that we learned in the first section, where we're just pulling off from the B, A, the G, or the 2, 1, the 7, and landing on the E. And then we're doing the same kind of idea rhythm with 2, 1, O, and releasing with that bend. And those are two kind of great ideas. You've got the very major sounding, right? And then the more of the minor pentatonic sounding to kind of compare and contrast with each other. But it's also great because it again lifts us into the next section. And there's a kind of a momentum to it that we haven't experienced a triplet rhythm yet in it. So when you go 1, it really brings the intensity and kind of propels the rest of the band to the next section. So all of the line 2 together we have. And the downbeat is right there. So from here, we're transferring into kind of the higher stuff that he does, but still avoiding some of the higher things. Like I said at the beginning of this, he doesn't make too many bends, and he doesn't really move too much into the 5th fret area, kind of the pentatonics we were talking about up here, too much. Not to say, again, it's not exclusive, but he doesn't do that too often in his recordings. So if you're trying to phrase like him, you kind of want to stick into this area mainly of this pentatonics that we talked about in that first section. So we're going to play kind of just a little classic Donism again, where we have, just great. We're playing open and then jumping up to the D, back to the 1. There's the flat 3rd, that's the C, 1. And the 7, which is great. And then we're getting ready. If we got one more bar, then we got to get to a D. So we're going to do a classic little walk up. We'll play the A here because we finished our phrase, and then right, because that was just A, B, C sharp, which gives us up to the D chord. So if you have that together, it's. And now we're up into our buckaroo double stop idea, where we have. So that's just playing out of that deep kind of power chord, major chord, and we're just playing. So I've got that straight across the 7, so 7 and 7 double stop, and I'm using my 2nd and 3rd fingers here. And then bounce off the flat 7. And 2 or 9, that's the E, then back. So, and this is something that you could definitely hear him do in his rhythm fills. And then we've got the suspended. So that's just moving it up to the G, moving it down to the F sharp, down to the C and E, and back. And sometimes I probably should figure out a thing and do it every time like this, but sometimes what I'll do is just use my 2nd and 3rd to go. We've got where I'm only using those 2 fingers to grab the strings, but other times I'll use my pick and my 2nd finger, where I'll go. So experiment with seeing what you like best. I think it's kind of nice to use just your fingers so you can have access to the lower stuff too. So, and you can just get that pick back there if you need to. So with that walk up, we've got, or excuse me, the full third line with the walk up into the D, we have. And then usually in his fills, when he goes high and plays a double stop thing, the next thing he's going to do is not go higher, but go back lower. So now we're at the fourth line, and we have. So we're referencing that low stuff again. We've got more of the same there, and then we're going to throw some fourths in. And this is great. This is a really big sound. We're playing A and D, right? The easy way to figure out a fourth is start on your root and go up 4 notes. There's your fourth. And then G and C. Same thing, G, A, B, C, a fourth. So we've got really nice big sound, kind of in your face, just enough. And then that propels us into 3, 4, and another just kind of classic descending 2-0, 2-0, 3-0. So that wraps it up nicely, and you can go into a chorus or solo there, whatever that may be. But all of that together in line 4, you've got. So try experimenting around with that. I would recommend, learn it, but then just alter the rhythms and see what you can come up with. Take the different kind of things I was talking about, like at the end there in bar 8, where we have the. See if you can find some other kind of different fills that will propel you forward. Mix around the different parts of it. Try doing that. Try doing, take the same movements with your fingers and see if you can apply them to other strings or adjacent strings. And then just rearrange. That's the big thing. Rearrange his stuff, because the more you listen to him, whether it be live recordings or studio recordings, he's using all the same ideas, but just stretching it across all the different songs that play. And that's kind of the big takeaway from that, is recycling and using the same stuff, but just slightly altering the rhythms around, which I think this is a perfect example of. So all together, I'll play it for you. We've got.